You still trust him?
He's my man.
Hey guys, Ryan and Greg here, and we're back talking Legion Season 2. It was one of our favorite shows last year, and we were so excited to be breaking down Season 2, starting with Chapter 9.
But first, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we got plenty more TV breakdowns on the way, including Westworld and Rick and Morty.
All right, Greg, it's been a while since the show's been on the air, but overall, what were your first initial thoughts from the episode?
Oh man, I loved it. The surreal visuals were so on point. I loved every single frame from beginning to end.
Yeah.
It felt a lot like, and people are gonna say this everywhere, it's Twin Peaks light this season. I loved it. It was already a little Twin Peaks the season before, but this time I think Noah Hawley's just diving right in and just going full blown.
Yeah, you can tell he's a huge fan of Lynch. I mean, the cinematography, the art direction, the different lenses they're using, the frame rates,
a little Kubrick too.
The sound, obviously.
Yeah.
Everything they use to kind of create this sense of mystery and suspicion, and you don't really know what time it is, just like our characters in the show. So amazing. I don't think there's any show quite like it. Maybe obviously Twin Peaks, but that's off the air now. But Legion is kind of in a league of its own, I'd say.
Okay, let's start off with things we noticed in the episode. Right off the bat, Tim Malance, I'm sorry if I butchered your last name. He directed this episode, and he's known for his work on American Horror Story in the past, Glee, and Mad Men, which is kind of cool because we had a Mad Men character in this episode, John Hamm.
Yeah, it was good to hear John Hamm's voice, and he's not doing a Mercedes-Benz commercial. I mean, he's in every single one of those, but
smooth.
Yeah, I mean, his voice is great.
Can you see the maze? Its walls and floors, its twists and turns.
He narrates a couple notable scenes in this episode. First, a portion where they're talking about a giant maze in your head that kind of creates manifestations of madness. It really sticks with you because it starts off on a black screen, and it's kind of something that the audience has to visualize themselves.
And Noah Hawley told The Wrap earlier this week that we can expect to see John Hamm throughout this whole entire season narrating episodes. That's awesome.
I kind of like how it breaks like the story with a narration and ties all the themes together. And I don't think it's a coincidence that a character from a show called Mad Men is involved in a show with themes of going crazy and madness and all that kind of stuff. It's a fun little nod from Hawley. It's a fun little nod.
So what's new in season 2? David was missing for a year, but he thinks it's only been a day. Now there's no more Summerland. It's all Division 3 now, apparently.
And then when we first find David, he's in a club, and a dark club. There's a little bit of music playing in the background, and it looks like there's remnants or clothes of people that were burned or killed in some way down on the ground there. Ptonomy and Clark find him there, but we're not really sure if it's the astral plane or...
We don't know, but I have a feeling we're gonna see that club sequence over and over again in just different varieties of what's going on, so we don't know yet.
It's okay. Help them. Who? They're in the maze.
Yeah, so Division 3 looks like a dope place to hang. I mean, the cafeteria has floating waffles on standby if you need one, kind of like a rotating sushi bar, right?
I want one in my house. That's pretty cool.
Immediately when I saw that, I wanted one too.
Yeah. Also for Division 3, keep an eye out for those honeycombs, like the hive mind. We talked about this so much in our American Horror Story breakdowns. Looks like they're doing it again here with the chatter, like just groups. Also, what's up with those green hands?
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on. I thought they were like, it looks like when you're at like a theme park and like that's the parking lot, like
you are here.
You are here. You are here. But they're like hands that are pointed in every weird direction.
Something weird's going on.
It's literally just to screw with us, I think.
Yeah.
And then the first time we're reintroduced to Sid is an awesome sequence with her cat. They switched bodies, and at first you're just like, what the hell's going on? And you realize they're mutants.
I love it. It's little things like that to let you know, like, these are X-Men. Oh, they're mutants. This is an X-Men show. You're watching a live-action X-Men show on TV. That's f***ing awesome.
Yeah, and it sounds like that she's been doing this trick a lot. I mean, Carrie even makes a comment that
she's sick of it.
She's sick of it, that she can't stand it when she does this. So it's a cool little catch-up with one of the main characters, one of our favorite characters from the first season.
I hate it when you do that.
I'm practicing. Who'd they find?
David.
And finally, we're introduced to a new character, Admiral Fukuyama. who's got like a basket over his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's things called the Vermilion, which are androgynous androids. Again, Twin Peaks, I'm always thinking of David Lynch's work with doubles. We get that too here.
Totally.
I loved it. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, he can't communicate regularly, but he can communicate through them. We don't even know if they are in fact androids or they just talk like androids. It's like the weirdest thing ever. But they have mustaches and wigs, and it's pretty creepy.
I've seen this before. Trekkies will know this too, that there's an episode, I think it's season 1 or 2, where there's this alien race where the man can't talk verbally, so he uses others around him.
And so the
Speak to me!
What?
Speak directly to me.
Same way. It's pretty cool.
And we know that Holly doesn't want to do a whole bunch of comic book adaptation directly from the books to the TV screen. Probably none of that besides, Professor X and Legion himself. But the Vermilion do kind of remind me of the Stepford Cuckoos, who were these telepathic twins that came from Emma Frost, I believe, that cloned from her or her kids. And it's a very loose interpretation or adaptation. They're telepaths. That's basically it. So don't go yelling at me in the comments, guys, please.
And Vermilion is a vivid shade of red, and if there's anything we know about this show so far from last season, is Noah Hawley loves to play with colors.
Yeah.
Red and blue play off of each other a lot, so it just represents like David's psyche.
Yeah.
Good, bad, truth, lies.
Remember last year, whenever the Shadow King showed up, it was always red and it was always very intense and chaotic. So it honestly just alerted me not to really trust the Admiral and his followers, the Vermilion, or anyone else in that Division 3 building.
Also, it's very subtle too with the red. When David gives Sid that compass to follow him towards the end of the episode, the little arrow, it's red on there and it's pointing. It just made me realize, okay, so you can't really trust David right now.
That's amazing.
Weird.
I actually didn't notice that first time viewing it. But the red is literally pointing at David.
Yep, just little hints that David is not telling the full truth here yet. We don't know what's going on.
Now let's talk about the catalyst, or what the hell is going on with everyone who's grinding their teeth or chattering their mouth. Yeah, it's really annoying. It really, really hurts my own teeth when I'm watching it and hearing it happen. But apparently the Shadow King has been infecting people all over the place with this virus. It's not really clear how or why he's doing it, but it has infiltrated all facets of life.
Yeah, so they don't know what's going on yet. Just makes me want to go to the dentist. I don't like that noise whatsoever.
Insane.
And now we got this crazy ass Minotaur that shows up.
Scary as hell.
Twice.
Yeah.
First when Melanie's getting high, and then again when David's in that chamber and he's going through this whole dreamscapes thing, and we get the kids playing Duck Duck Goose, and right through the hallway you see the Minotaur go by again. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like that means that the Shadow King has like infiltrated all facets of not only humans across the world, and Division 3. Like his reach is literally grabbing everyone. So it's hard to really trust any of our heroes in Division 3. Although Patanomy he seems pretty normal, Clark seems pretty normal, but who knows at this point?
You can't trust anything you see on screen just yet. We've got an unreliable narrator going on, and you don't know whether this is reality or dreamscapes right now.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the main plot, what we think this season is going to be about, and that's Amal Farouk and the search for his body. Remember, Amal Farouk is inside of Oliver Bird, the Shadow King. He's inside of him on the astral plane, controlling his mind, but his body is somewhere else, and he can't find it. Division 3 can't find it. No one seems to be able to find it. But we know from the trailers, we eventually are going to see it. It looks like they come out of some type of crypt or some type of...
it's in this egg. We don't know what it is.
Some weird egg-looking thing.
Yeah.
So we're eventually going to get to see his body, but basically the plot comes down to them trying to find the body before he does, because if he does combine the mind with the body, we find out that he's nearly unstoppable.
Bad things are going to happen.
Farouk's mind is strong. But the mutations are genetic, meaning of the genes, physical, not mental.
What is that?
On its own, the Shadow King's mind is powerful.
But were he to rejoin his body, he would be unstoppable.
So how did Amal Farouk's body and mind get separated? Well, he lost a fight on the astral plane, and it sounds like that's the fight with Professor X that we found out last year in Legion Season 1. Now, in the comics, Professor X fought Amal Farouk in Cairo, I believe, the first time they met in the comic books, and he defeated Amal Farouk, killed his body, but the Shadow King then lived on the astral plane for decades and decades and decades and tormented the X-Men and Professor X for, you know, X amount of years. So once those two entities come back together, body, mind, it's gonna be bad.
Also, I really dug Carey's chamber that he created for David to get into his mind a little bit. And
Yeah.
it reminded me a lot of Cerebro, Professor X's Cerebro from the movies and the comics.
Yeah, I think it was a fun little Easter egg for Marvel comic book fans to see, you know, a amplification chamber that you can then connect across, open your mind up and connect across astral planes. Obviously, Cerebro is for mutants and stuff like that. But I thought it was very fitting that in the comics, at least, Professor X creates Cerebro as a consequence after his first run-in with Amal Farouk. So that was like the first like bad mutant that he ever came across. He thought all mutants were nice and friendly, and Amal Farouk comes across, they fight, and then he wants to create Cerebro in order to start recruiting young mutants and kind of guide them along their lives. So I thought it was a fun little,
cool.
fun little tie-in with all the Marvel Comics back history.
And then we get this scene with Delusion, which is the representation of this like chicken that's covered in black tar.
It's disgusting, yeah.
Or something, yeah. It pops up twice. It creeps up at the very end and under the bed for David and Sid in his mind. So again, another representation of possibly Farouk. Or,
inside David's mind.
Yes.
Inside maybe gunning for Sid and David. Clearly, the Shadow King is all throughout Division 3 and all of our main characters.
Yes. It's all a dream, probably.
After a fun little dance-off in the astral plane, we think, time travel was introduced into the show for the first time, we think, as well.
Yep.
Present-day David meets future Sid. She has one arm, and she basically instructs him to help Farouk find his body.
Okay, we're gonna get to that in a second, but one little Easter egg I noticed is that, you know, the whole Terminator thing, going back and forth through time. You got this cool shot of David when I guess he jumped out of that chamber somehow.
Yeah.
Like he did last season, where he's just like pops out of things. Happened again this season. We get that shot of him just like kneeling down.
Completely naked.
Yep, come on.
Looks just like Terminator, yeah.
He is the Terminator. He's going back and forth through time. I love it.
All right, Greg, let's get to our favorite moments from the episode. What do you got?
Okay, I'm gonna say it again, Twin Peaks here. I can't help but notice that scene at the very end where David and future Sid with her arms cut off. Again, just like Twin Peaks, another sequence like that where someone's missing a limb, just like in David Lynch's work. And also, it reminded me so much, it mirrored the scene in Twin Peaks where Sarah Palmer is in the Black Lodge with Dale Cooper, and she tells him, of course,
I'll see you again in 25 years.
This season is going to be fun trying to figure out what's real and what's delusion.
Yeah.
The show is meant to trip you out, to have you stumble across, wait, is this real or am I in a dream right now? Especially the opening sequence itself right from the get-go. The seamless transitions are so, so good. The editing on this show is amazing.
Yeah, I loved it. That was a great moment. And I couldn't help but notice in the beginning when we were first introduced to Sid, we see two shots where it looks like there is a figure with an arm cut off. And then we see future Sid, of course, with her arm cut off. So foreshadowing with what happens to Sid, at least down the road. Does she cut off her arm? Does the Shadow King have something to do with that? I think so. My favorite moment was the dance-off on the astral plane, the club, between Oliver, Lenny, and David. To see a fight, you never, in TV, you never see, or movies, you never see a fight take the form of a choreographed dance routine to kind of show your powers back and forth. But I thought it was a fun way to show these two opposing forces going head to head.
Yeah.
And also, you know, it's fun to see these actors kind of open up their repertoire and do more and more things, and dancing, of course. You know, they're all great.
I think we're going to get a lot of dance sequences.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get
This
a
show
lot
does
of dance
really
sequences.
good dance sequences, let's be honest. So.
Yeah. Okay, I wasn't the biggest fan of that dance sequence as much as you were. I'm sorry. I just thought it went on a little too long. They stretched it out. But I did like the isolated audio. So like almost like Foley. I wonder how many times in the editing room, how many different songs or sound effects they used for that scene, and how many where they got to that moment where like, okay, this works, because watching it now, that's a very memeable part of the episode.
Oh, totally.
You can swap in any song you want in that sequence.
That's a really good point, yeah. Any song would work there, and it'd be just as effective.
In the kitchen, wrist twisted like it's stir fry. In the kitchen, wrist twisted like it's stir fry. In the kitchen, wrist twisted like it's stir fry.
This isn't one specific moment, but I really enjoyed the meta moments in this episode. This one went more than anything else, like literally off the bat. So the show airs on Tuesdays, and if you're watching it as the season premiere starts, even Lenny makes mention of this in the beginning of the episode.
It's Tuesday, right?
And then later on, of course, we're told through narration to visualize a maze, like the experience of watching this show and just being blown away and asking questions and coming around with theories coming out of it. I feel like it's pretty much like that maze. Like the experience of it is a maze. And then we're left here going completely mad. So yeah, we don't know what's right, what's wrong, what's true, what's false.
I have
That's
no idea.
basically the maze. We are inside of it. All right, let's end on any final questions we have. And there are a lot after Chapter 9 of Legion Season 2.
Okay, so I'm guessing that Division 3 finds the body for Farouk.
Okay.
Bad shit happens right from there, and so Sid's got to go back in time and let David know that, hey, don't let that happen, and let Shadow King find the body. But I think there may be some misinterpretation in her message to David, so we don't know exactly what she wants him to do with that body yet. It may not be to really help out Shadow King. We don't know.
Help Farouk find his body? Why would I do that?
I don't know if they already found the body, but all I can think of is that she's been compromised. That literally, Amal Farouk, the Shadow King, could not find the body on his own. And basically his next step is to infiltrate, infect everyone around him, including the mutants, the powerful mutants that he knows he can get to. The people he's connected to. He's connected to David in the past. He's connected to Sid through David as well, and they swap bodies. So I think that he's literally infecting the people and trying to have control over them and use them to do the work for him to find his body. Because like they said in the beginning, they're trapped. Yeah, they're by the pool, but we're trapped, and they're laughing about it. So I think that he's literally using, last resources, any desperate moves he can in order to get the body.
And again, another question, is David still in the orb/maze?
I like that idea, yeah.
Is everything we're seeing so far, is David still in that orb? Did we actually jump forward 1 year? That's the next question. Is this all in David's mind? Is this Shadow King messing with him? The reason I think that is because of another episode of TNG's Star Trek where...
Trekkie's back. The Trekkie's back.
Yeah. The episode was called Future Imperfect. Basically, Riker wakes up from a coma and it's 16 years in the future. So the special effects, they just put like on some shitty gray beard on him. It's really bad. But at the end of the episode, we find out it's all a hoax. He's not, 16 years didn't go by. It was just a hoax done by a lonely kid, an alien who just needed a friend. And so he figures it out at the end, and it gives me one of my favorite scenes of Star Trek history, which is this.
Captain, perhaps it would be best if we discuss this.
Shut up!
I beg your pardon.
I said shut up! As in close your mouth and stop talking.
Now, we could go on for hours and days and weeks thinking about what questions, what theories we have. But I want to get one more question out of you about this idea of style over substance. I think this episode in particular is a really good example of how visually compelling Legion can be. Obviously, we know that. It's fun entertainment. It's fun to watch. But do you think there's too much style and not enough substance in this show?
Okay, again, this is the last time I'm going to say that word with this name, but again, David Lynch, Twin Peaks, Kubrick, a lot of that is in play this season, so I can see people thinking like, oh, there's too much of one. I think it's a good balance, though, compared to if you sat through all of Twin Peaks The Return, I think you'll be fine with the show. But I can see the criticism. I think it's a good balance, though. I was on board from beginning to end.
Thanks for watching, guys. That's it for us. What did you think of Legion Season 2, Episode 1, Chapter 9?
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Did you find any other Easter eggs or hidden references in the episode as well? And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
See ya.